You should come into this if you have wondered about life. In a world where being happy is a huge achievement, the idea of transcending human existence sounds far-fetched. Is there something beyond simple sensory happiness? Progress a person can make within 10 days is astounding. The first thing I achieved with that knowledge is I'm not rattled. I am not imbalanced in my mind. It gives me a chance to do something. What if you have a practice which allows you to take control? Now you have superpowers.
Welcome to RobbyLobby. Today I'm speaking with a good friend of mine, Raghu, and he recently attended Vipassana training. Now, Vipassana is a term I heard for the first time about a year ago and was blown away by the program and this beautiful facility available in Georgia. So a friend of mine attended it and talked to me about the program. Came to know that Raghu just attended one of the sessions. He's a veteran, so I thought I'll pick his brain right off the bat when he just came out of the program like a couple of days ago. Raghu, welcome to RobbyLobby. Glad to have you.
Thanks, Robby. Always a pleasure to see you when you come to India. I know about you for a long time, and you and my wife work together. And I've always known you as somebody on his motorbike, going to so many places, and always a sense of adventure. And I really appreciate that you stumbled upon Vipassana and you picked it up. So hopefully you're also attending a course probably in the near future.
I hope so, but the thought of it scares me. Can you briefly tell us, because most of for people who watch are mostly tennis players, motorcycle enthusiasts. We meditate in our own way, right? On the court or motorcycle. But this is another form. Can you tell us briefly?
The word is pronounced Vipassana. It's pronounced Vipassana. Sounds like asana, something to do with yoga.
That's what I thought.
Vipassana means to see in Pali. Siddhartha Gautama, Buddha.
Okay.
And, at that time, he used to speak in Pali, which is a version of Sanskrit. Pali is the primary language in which he spoke, and all teachings are in that language. It's very close to Sanskrit. Pasana means to see. And the prefix V, which is also there in many words. Any word that has a V prefix in Sanskrit or means something is special. So essentially, when we are cognizing the world through the five senses, it appears to be in a certain way. I'm seeing something, I'm seeing a tree, I'm seeing you. You appear human through my eyesight. And same with my ears, nose, smell, taste, touch, right? Five senses I'm cognizing in a certain way, which we call normal. But you train yourself to see beyond that. Normally, we use the five senses, the world, the human being, a certain form. I'm capturing through my eyes, ears, nose, taste, touch, all of that. All that is cognizing, normal way of seeing. And keeps the normal and builds on top and sees beyond normal senses. We achieve this through technology. See far away. Use a telescope. The normal eyes are not enough. You want to see something very small, use a microscope. Like that, we are using different instruments to extend our senses. So is there a way to use some instrument to see the mind itself? Not through neuroimaging, because what you are seeing is the brain.
Mechanical.
And till date, this entire field of studies related to consciousness, they haven't figured anything about consciousness. The closest they have come is it's supposed to emerge out of the physical brain. Vipassana techniques have been around a long time in different cultures. This one says there is a way to train oneself to look into one's own mind. It's very tough, tougher than most extreme sports. All of us know if you want to become decent in a sport, any sport,
Yeah.
cricket, football, tennis, whatever it is, a coach will tell you, all right, what's your goal? And you say, I want to be a professional. Depending on your goal, the coach is going to tell you, depending on where you are today, it's going to take you 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. You have to commit, be sincere, find the purpose within. There's no escape. All of that applies to this 10x. It's really tough. Unless you get a sense of what it is and aspire to access it, unless that aspiration arises, it's just another fad for you then. Some meditation has got a lot of meanings today, and many people just shrug off and say, I'm not into it. In a world where being happy is a huge achievement, the idea of transcending human existence sounds far-fetched, but some people get interested and start exploring different spiritual practices. One of the original teachers from Burma used to, it seems, not take students if they come in with a goal, I want to become more healthy physically, or I have a disease, or I have a mental issue. So if people come to him with those purposes, he used to say, don't belittle the practice. This is for something else. If you have a migraine, go to a doctor. If you're going to pick this up, it's going to take care of a lot of things. If you're coming to this for those things, it's belittling. You're not going to get it. You should come into this if you have wondered about life, have been thinking about, is there something beyond being a consumer? Is there something beyond simple sensory happiness? We already know a bit about what life could be. For example, for an artist, I'm not talented in any art, okay? I'm a consumer. I listen to music, look at art. I've seen artists, and I know their life must be different and better. Why? Because they have access to an art through which they are experiencing something I'm not. My experience as a consumer of that art, I can recognize is something lesser than the same thing for them as a creator, which means, in my opinion, artists of any type are living a life in the same world with the same technology. They're accessing something better than I am. So there is a natural aspiration to learn an art. And if you extend that to the highest possibility of a human being, that would be some spiritual practice. If anyone is interested in exploring life beyond what's normally recognized as happiness, this is useful. Vipassana is a training to see oneself and explore the depths of one's mind, understand who I am, and start improving from that point. It's free of mystery, religion.
Completely abstract.
It's as concrete as anything once you start practicing. When not talking about the practice itself, it sounds abstract. But it is as concrete and practical as any training for sports. If you're training for cricket, you practice a particular stroke. And you're going to do it like few hundred times to get good. There's nothing intellectual about it. When starting Vipassana, you begin with watching your breath, observing the breath. Vipassana training says to observe something very subtle, like sensations on the body or thoughts in your mind. Normally, you don't catch it.
Yeah, very
Which you need a mind that is sharp, can see with higher resolution, train for concentration. Develop the power of concentration through watching the breath going inside and coming outside of you, the inhalation and exhalation. The breath is very subtle. Normally, when we are in the waking world, sitting, working, we are not aware that the breath is there.
Totally.
We are breathing all the time. It's happening automatically. But you're not aware because it's subtle. It's like saying, are you aware of your heartbeat right now? Mostly we are not.
Yeah.
If you sit and concentrate, you can feel the heartbeat. Breath is even more subtle, which means if you close your eyes, sit, and start watching your breath, if you do it consistently, over a period, you develop the concentration necessary to watch the breath distinctly. In and out, the mind gets concentrated. Once you have that sharpness of the mind, you take the mind out of watching the breath and use it to focus on some other things, which is subtler than breath.
So essentially you're training your mind to concentrate. But okay.
After you achieve that concentration, shift to have a more focused mind, focus it on what you want to focus on.
Okay.
Within the practice you focus on, Vipassana there are different types. The particular lineage I have learned from is Ji's tradition.
Okay.
The object of meditation is breath, which you focus on. And once you get good at it, then mind gets concentrated. Then you shift to watching the sensations on the body. The body has sensations. We become aware of any sensation only if it's very gross.
Extreme.
So we are sitting here. If suddenly there is a gust of wind, you would know it. Maybe you will shiver a little bit. So that's a gross sensation, right? Temperature or pain or itching, or there are so many different sensations, right? So when a particular sensation is of a certain intensity, we start feeling it. But even if we feel it, normally, if that's nothing to do with our work or what we are doing, we ignore it. Mosquito bites, so I'm going to just kill it. Maybe I'll scratch it and continue my life. I don't necessarily concentrate on it. Beyond gross sensations, there are subtler sensations all over the body. From the top of the head to the toes, body is having sensation in every inch.
Including at the skin level?
On the skin,
Okay.
you begin there. As you advance in Vipassana, the training, you're penetrating inside. They tell you in the 10-day course itself, as well as in the advanced courses, that as the resolution of the mind becomes more and more, there comes a point when you lose the solidity of the body. Right now, I know I have a body. I can feel my legs, limbs, everything.
Okay.
When my resolution increases, beyond pain, stress, and heat, I start feeling subtle sensations in the body. And as I become better and better at that, then I can start feeling the subtler sensation inside the body also. The person who is really good is able to sit and concentrate and go to a point where you are actually feeling the vibrations of the atoms of the body. That is all you're seeing. So essentially, you don't feel your body. You're feeling the vibrations of the atoms of the body. Because the science today says that really nothing is as it appears. All the quantum mechanics, what are they saying? Everything is vibrations. Tiny atoms, quarks inside atoms. Essentially, it's all vibrations. We don't feel that way, we don't see it, because the resolution is at this level, the level we normally see. In this case, you're closing your eyes, not literally seeing, but feeling the body to a point where you get an experiential understanding that nothing is solid. If you ask, why is that useful? Why is that useful? One of the wisdoms of Vipassana is that nothing is constant. Everything changes. We already know that. If you know that, are you applying it in your life? You claim you know that, but are you able to apply that knowledge? The answer is not. There's a gap, right? I claim I know that. If somebody were to ask me, do you really know that? I would say, yeah, of course. Change is the only constant. I know the quote. And if people ask me, I can give many examples. If somebody were to ask me, can you apply it in your life? The answer is no. Today I'm happy, I have a job, things are good. But when things change, something happens in my job, something happens in my family, something happens to my health. It's a huge surprise for me. I'm shocked. I can't take it well. I don't cope with it well. I get terribly stressed and amplify it because of my reactions to the problem. If somebody were to catch me and ask, you knew things are bound to change, why are you not able to handle it? And I'm like, I don't know. Of course, I knew nothing is permanent and I am healthy today, something can happen tomorrow. If things change, the first thing I achieve with that knowledge is I'm not rattled. I'm not shaken. I know things change. Just the fact that I am not imbalanced in my mind gives me a chance to do something about it. Normally, people tend to just react. And once you have reacted, it keeps going. And you can only see the world through those reactions. You can only interact with yourself and the world through those reactions, which means your thinking, your decision making, your action, all of those are affected. Think about somebody informed by a doctor of some condition. Now the doctor is saying something I can't comprehend. What does that do to that person? That person starts reacting. And then maybe the person will go and talk to 10 people, do some research on the internet, and the more information the person gets, the more stressed the person is. Now, how can that person think about it, understand it, navigate through it, be able to arrive at a decent, rational decision about what to do and have the peace of mind? All of that requires a calm, rational mind to be able to do something about that issue that has come up in your life. And if you don't have that, you're going to operate from some other mind, which is going to make everything worse. So here we are saying the first thing you train to achieve, even a little, gives you stability and balance. So why watch sensations on your body? You realize everything changes and you experience that. Earlier, everything changes only in your head.
Yeah.
But now you know it in your body. If I am sitting cross-legged, meditating, 10 minutes it's fine. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes it's fine. Then some portion of the body develops pain.
Yeah.
And I am asked by the teacher, it's going to pain, but you can observe it and not do anything. My normal reaction is, if my leg starts paining, I need to do something. So I move my leg, maybe press it a little bit. I don't want the pain. If there is a pain, I'm going to do something about it. If the leg starts paining, I'm going to move it. Then what? I'm going to start doing something about it. All that is spontaneous reaction, because I want to get rid of the pain. But if somebody were to tell you, everything changes, which means this pain, which came up now, would also change, right? I've experienced that. Something happens, I fall, there's pain. After some time, it goes away. The injury may take more time to heal, but the initial pain is not there anymore. Something has changed. So you fall down, there's an injury, a lot of pain, and then after some time, it subsides. Yeah, that's true. If there's pain, it goes away. You don't need to do anything. You say, no, there's an injury, you got to do something. But right now you're sitting in meditation, there is no injury, and there is a pain because maybe the way you're sitting, one leg is pressing on the other. The blood flow is restricted, and hence that part gets stressed, and there's a release of prostaglandin, which creates the pain. So that's the chemical process. You know why it's happening. And if you're actually experiencing it right now, you know that I have pain now. But if a teacher were to ask you, this pain is going to go away, why not just sit? Don't do anything.
Wow.
Then you try, and you're like, yeah, I managed for 5 minutes, but now it's really paining.
Yeah.
And the teacher says, let it pain. Just observe, because it's going to go away. At some point, you're going to say, no, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
That's what many of us do when we go to our first courses. You sit on a cushion, start meditating. One session is about an hour. And within that, maybe after 15 minutes, after some point, you're literally dancing on the cushion. That was my experience also.
Yeah.
You're trying to cross leg this way and that, sit this way, put another cushion. You're moving so much because you want to do something about the pain. And the teacher tells you it is possible to not do anything at all. The pain would go away. You're like, is it true? Let me try. I'm going to hold for another 5 seconds. I can't hold it anymore. Then you move. And the teacher says, it's good. You were able to hold for 5 more seconds. Next time, try for 10. Then you try for 10. Then the teacher says, how do you normally do that? you're braving it. The pain is going to take you over. But the teacher says, no, if you want to sustain, there's another way where you don't fight it. If you train yourself that way, it's possible to sit without moving in spite of excruciating pain. You can just see it and not do anything.
Wow.
Really? You mean I can do it? Yeah, you can do it. How do you know? The teacher says, oh, it's been going on for decades or centuries. Every year people walk into a Vipassana center to meditate. Tall, short, fat, thin, with or without diseases, all different age groups. Nobody believes they can sit for an hour. If you stop the meditation on day one and ask every first-time participant, do you think you can sit for an hour without moving? Absolutely not. Because they are dancing on the cushion essentially. By 7th or 8th day, everyone is sitting. Everyone. Regardless of their physical condition, whatever it is, age, whatever it is. How that has happened? Because it's like any training, right? Anything you train, you want to train to run, you want to train anything, initially you think, that looks really tough.
Yeah.
But you train and after a while, it feels normal.
So sit without any back support, cross leg?
Cross leg is good if you can, but not necessary.
Okay.
You pick a posture, suit you. People sit in different ways. People sit with the legs behind, cross leg, or some people even extend their legs. You can use different cushions. Initially, it's tough. So support yourself as much as you want, doesn't matter. In fact, the teacher would even provide the students different types of back supports. There's a chair like this. You put a cushion on the chair and sit so you can have a back support. There's a particular stool type of thing where you put the legs underneath. Different tools to not stress yourself so much in the beginning. It is going to pain. But take all the support, trust what the teacher is saying, that thousands of people have gone through it. If they can do it, you can do it. Then you say, oh, let me trust, let me see what happens. Actually, it doesn't work in the beginning and it's really tough. And then once in a while, students sometimes actually get up, then come back. The initial part is very tough. You need determination and trust. Many people have done it, I can do it. Why would you do any of that? Only if you have some sense of what benefit it gives me. If you have that idea, then you say, okay, maybe it's worth it. There are incredible benefits. I keep it simple and practical for myself. Like everybody else, I also go through stress reactions, anger, frustration, irritation, the whole range of human emotion. If I can deal with my anger in a way that earlier, if I'm getting angry instantaneously, I can delay that a little. After that, I'm still getting angry, but I gain control. I'm angry, aware of it, and I have a choice in whether to do something about it or not. Earlier, I never had a choice. I'm angry. I get to know I'm angry only after I have expressed it. In my face, voice, yelling. Normally, people know they are angry only after it's manifested. But what if you can come to know of your anger before you have manifested it? That's a degree of control. And if you imagine taking that control higher, I've seen people in intense situations where any other person would have lost it. They sit like the eye of the storm, very calm. And hence access their faculties and look at it rationally and be able to arrive at some good decisions and actions. All of that becomes possible because they're not reacting. So if I manage my negative emotions and control them, that benefit is a huge deal for me. For anybody, there are many ways to do it. You have corporate anger management course. And it's good. I've seen that and people going through that. And a lot of stuff they say there, they're all good. For example, we have seen in movies and or somebody tells you're stressed, take a deep breath. It works. So many things work. But most are temporary. For the time being, for 5 seconds, you're able to regain a little bit of control. But it's not going to sustain.
That was after the effect.
People say take a deep breath, take a walk, or repeat numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're distracting your mind from the anger to calm down and engage. All that is fine. They all work. We all need to use it for short term. But what if you have a practice which allows you to take control? You don't need any of this. Now you have superpowers. In any situation, you are steady, rock solid. That is a huge benefit. When I see it that way, I don't see it as a spiritual practice. This is more understandable and accessible to me, practical to me. And my objective is I want to have a handle on my emotional state.
So is not speaking for 10 days also part of the training?
This training has certain ground rules. The most important one is no speaking for 10 days. The mind is fickle and easily distracted. First, concentrate the mind and be in that state longer and longer. Unless you have that level of concentration, you can't put it to work. To see reality as it is, to do the job, you need a concentration. If distracted and dissipated, then you can't do the job. The thing that so easily distracts people is speaking. The moment I speak, my mind is gone. So 10 days of complete silence, concentration to a great level. Even though you're not speaking, you're still listening. The instructions in the meditation hall and the teacher in front of you, it's all about meditation. Given step by step in a coherent way, so it all makes sense, and that is not a distraction. So when that is not a distraction, aids in being able to arrive at and hold the concentration. So that's why the silence is. And also, like people think this is beyond me and this sounds really tough and I can't do it, which is normal even after the first day. A lot of people think maybe this is not for me. A certain percentage of people leave the course.
Okay.
On the first day, the second day, whenever it is. That also happened. But when I went for my first course and I heard the statistics that some 98-99% of people who attend for the first time actually complete the 10 days. If 99% finish, I can do it. I don't want to be part of that 1% who run away. So I know it can be done. From other people's example, I can sit for 10 days and not run away. I can tell myself, I can be silent for 10 days. Once you start, it's possible. It is tough, but you get used to it. The silence part is easier than the sitting part.
Oh, really?
After a while, nobody is talking. You get used to it. Any reason to speak is taken away. Volunteers take care of everything. The design and layout of the center and the process in which everything happens is so streamlined. They even tell you, don't look at other people.
Yeah.
The moment I look at somebody, my thoughts start streaming. Hey, this person, the shots are really nice.
Yeah.
Or something about the dress, something about the face. I can't help it. My mind is taken away. So they say, don't look at other human beings, just look down. If you're walking, look down. Obviously, you're not touching anybody, no human contact, no hearing of any speech because nobody's speaking. You're trying to minimize any input to the 5 senses. The system is so good, you just submit, you have to give your everything. You have to give your belongings, your cell phone, your everything. You can't even keep a pen or a paper, no books reading, music, no mixing of any other practice. They insist on, for good reasons, if you have a result for that, you should be able to know this result happened because of this. But if you're going to do 4 other things, like I'm used to praying every morning, how would you know a particular result is not influenced by that? They ask you to isolate everything else and only do this so that you can make a one-on-one correlation. What's the cause and what's the effect? So you're asked to remove all practices you've been doing, not speak, not even look at somebody, no writing, no reading, no listening to music. All of that aids in achieving the level of concentration necessary. In the 10 days, 3 days, you watch the breath. Hour after hour. In the meditation hall, after 3 days, everybody realizes without much effort, I'm able to see the subtle breath. Once that level of concentration is achieved, you're taken through the next step for the next 7 days. You're asked to observe the sensation of the body in a particular way And while you are doing that, be completely equanimous towards anything that happens. Pain, heat, itching, the job is to not react but to observe. Normally, when there is external input of some sort, you can either react to it, which is express your state. So speaking is expression, physical action is also expression. It's expression. Mentally you can react. If you say, I don't like this, that's a reaction. Or this is awesome, that's a reaction, mentally. But you can convert that into something in the form of a speech. So you can say this is bad, you can say this is great. In words, that's verbal expression. Or you physically act it out. One way you deal with reality is something happens and you react through expression. The second way is you suppress it. I'm feeling angry. I can suppress it. It's okay, let me tolerate it. But it builds up. You can only suppress so long. If the source creating the stress and anger is not going away, it's going to build up. There are two ways we deal with reality: expressing or suppressing. The third way is you don't express, you don't suppress, you just observe. I discovered that third way only after I started Vipassana. What is this third way? You observe without reacting, is that on the understanding that everything changes. On the sixth day, I sat for an hour and the bell rang, and I realized I have been sitting for an hour without moving. That was such a huge euphoria, to sit without moving, because I learned there is this third thing to do. Observe on the understanding that this will change. The pains in the knee, thighs, back, and be able to observe things about the pain that you never were able to observe. You're observing things like, where is the pain? Is it in one place or spread? How far has it spread? What's the nature of the pain? Is it hot or pulsating? You observe many characteristics as if it's not happening to you. And you realize normally I would have reacted much earlier. But now, since I was able to sustain not reacting, I am able to see characteristics I normally would not. And as that goes on, I witness it going away. It was intense, but now it's not there. Everything changes. Now I know it at a different level. In Vipassana, they talk about 3 types of knowing, 3 types of wisdom. The first level is purely theoretical. In Pali, it's called Suttamaya Panya. So Panya means wisdom. You can become wiser by knowing some concept, some idea. So that's theory. The second way, which adds depth to your knowledge, is you not only know it, you are now thinking about it. You're analyzing it, looking at it from different directions. You're trying to see whether the logic is true. All of this is the rational thinking mind. That's the second level. The first level, you just know it. The second level, you're thinking, analyzing. Now you know it intellectually. The third level, you know it in your experience. And unless you know it in your experience, you can't use it. The ability to use comes only if it has become experiential. Until then, you can't use it.
So you go...
You want to learn swimming, you can learn any number of books, become an expert, do a PhD, but you can't last in the water even a few seconds because you never touched it. So when you go into the water, learn basic strokes, and after a while you're able to go from one end of the pool to another. Now you can swim. You know what is swimming. You can tell yourself, I know swimming only if you can swim. Likewise, you can say, I know everything changes if you have experienced it. So the whole Vipassana is directed towards helping you understand the things of which you have theoretical knowledge. Now you know it physically and experientially.
You learn that experience using your devices in your body.
The point of Vipassana is training yourself within your body. You're using your breath and sensations as tools to train your mind. The object of meditation to begin with is your breath, And after that, you transition to watching all the sensations.
Is that what they give instructions? Is it all centered around orienting you
Yes,
to
these
this?
many types of difficulties that arise, and the instructions are about you try doing this, and if this happens, deal with it in this way. Same as anything you learn, right?
Okay.
You read a book on tennis, it's going to tell you something, but you actually go stand on the court, and then the coach is going to tell you something, you realize, oh, that was really helpful. Because you're navigating the actual process. That comes in the form of recorded instructions and the teacher in front of you.
From what you're saying, it sounds like focused instructions, not a general motivation speech.
Absolutely not. Vipassana is a meditation technique.
Okay.
And it is completely 100% process driven. It's about what to do. And what to do is simple. You sit. The sitting itself is complicated. After 10 minutes you would know. The difficulty is the practice itself. There is nothing philosophical, intellectual, absolutely nothing which is abstract or anything. It's as concrete as anything else. Even though it is called meditation, most people don't associate something very concrete with meditation. People think it is esoteric. This meditation is mundane as your breath sensation. Pain. What's tough is you are now asked to control your normal reactions by practicing this. Within 10 days, you achieve something you have never done in your life.
Totally.
You walk out with the feeling, I have done something I have never done in my life.
Yeah.
On the 6th day, I sat without moving in a single location in spite of all the issues physically. Meaning, I have been able to exercise control over the mind to that extent. On the 10th day, I had this realization that normally, when you want to understand a person, how do you do that? If you are physically with the person, you look at the person. So by looking how the person is physically, you have some impressions, all that. All the visual inputs give you some sense of who the person is and how the person behaves, the person talks, and the actions of the person. All these are inputs with which we come to some understanding about who a person is. What if you could come to a deeper understanding by just looking at the person sitting, not moving, not talking, not even the eyes open. A person is silently sitting. What if you can understand that person in a way deeper than anything else? Is it even possible?
Yeah.
In the meditation context, when I was sitting, the senior students are put in the front rows. For good reasons, junior students do this dance, walk out and they don't want chaos. So they put the senior students in the first rows. In the initial days, after some point, you open your eyes, even though you're not supposed to, see what's going on. And all you're seeing in front of you are these senior students sitting straight, not moving. You're like, okay, I'll check after some time. You open your eyes, are these guys really sitting without moving? The teacher says that's the goal, which means what? They're able to deal with pain better than I am. You learn that by looking at somebody sitting silently. And after some time you learn, this person is sitting here for an hour without moving. In the same time, I've done all the dance. What should it take for the person to do that? This person has that degree of control. What would that person be capable of in the normal world? Now you understand something else about the person. It's 4:30 to 6:30. 2 hours. Most other sits are 1 hour. This one sit for 2 hours. I wanted to check, are these people really doing it for 2 hours? For me, 1 hour on the 6th day was a monumental achievement. So I cheated one day and didn't meditate, observing these senior students sitting. I would frequently open my eyes and told myself that teacher doesn't know, but that was not true. The job of the teacher is to observe who is doing what.
Oh.
Later, the teacher told me, I saw you doing that. But they know why we are doing it also. Even though the official instruction is to not open your eyes, most first-timers check others. I did that, and I found some of the senior students were just straight.
To what?
When the whole thing was over, and now you're allowed to talk, all of us meditators mixed together, when I looked at those senior students who didn't move, how I regarded them was completely different. I have such respect for those people I've never spoken to. I've understood something deeper than I could have, even if I have spoken to them for hours. So those are some, so these things happen. You are picking up things, having insights beyond the core benefits of being able to, one, look inside of yourself, which you have never done in life, and gaining control over your reactions. Many other insights come up. I've always told myself, when I get time, people talk about psychology and how people think. Maybe I should do a course and figure it out. I used to say that to myself. And you end up reading some popular books, but that doesn't satisfy you. You want to do something more serious. And when I found this and I did, this is like you're entering a PhD program on day one. It is
About understanding
of that
itself,
depth,
right?
and you get a flavor of it within
10 days.
the kind of progress an average person can make within 10 days is astounding.
So when you came out, could you tell the difference?
Yeah, I'll give you concrete examples. I was sitting in the dining hall, I was drinking my tea, and a fly buzzed and sat on my nose. It flew away. It's the first time I've observed it. Observed what? Observed the buzz of a fly came and sat on my nose and it went away and I didn't do anything. Normal thing is you do this.
Yeah.
Every time in my life until that point, I've been doing that. But now, without intention, because of the 10 days of having gained certain control over the mind, it came, it sat on my nose and it flew away. And I saw it. It was an achievement for me. I saw it and I didn't know anything about it. That's one. The other thing is the way I walked. 10 days, you are walking from your residential place where you sleep to the meditation hall. From there, you're walking to the dining. And in between the meditation sessions, you are asked to keep yourself a little bit active and not just go and sleep. Because if you're going to just sleep, you're going to get lazy. So you're asked to walk around in a restricted area.
Okay.
Walking paths.
Okay.
Walk. So you do fair amount of walking when you're not meditating. And you're asked to do that. And there is a pace to that walk. Right? Some of that is because you are meditating and somehow you are internally slow. And some of it is because there are other people walking ahead of you. Your pace is decided by their pace. If there are 40 students and the area to walk is not big, it's a certain loop, which means you're going to regulate your walking in a certain pace, which is not normal for you.
Yeah.
Normally you may walk with a certain speed, but now you're doing it for 10 days. It gets into your system. After the 10th day, when you get out of the course and still have not left the meditation center, I'm walking here and
Or the same pace?
I'm walking in a certain pace that's different. I never thought about it. There is a pace to everything we do in life, but we never think about, is this the right pace for this? It never occurred to us. We know we do it in a certain way, somebody else does it in a certain way. We say that's the uniqueness of each personality. There seems to be an option. What if there is an optimal pace for each thing I do, and what if I can learn it and then do it that way? Can that make a difference? That was one of the thoughts that happened to me. I started practicing it in certain activities. For example, the way I'm talking now is different from when I started my career in marketing, sales, advertisement. I have to capture a lot of data and give it to my customer, vendor, partner. I used to do a huge amount of talking, and you can't do that unless you do it very fast. There's little time, and you have to do it in an organized way. So you train yourself for that. I've gone through marketing training, sales training, field training. I used to talk really fast. And that became a habit even when I'm not working. People have always told me, please repeat that or slow down.
Okay.
All they are saying, you're doing a good job, but slow down. I've listened to this all my life and I thought, look, I do it this way. And if you ask me to change, I don't know how. So I never really did. I just continued being who I was. And once in a while that will create some issues and I'm like, that's fine, I'll deal with it. But I decided to do that is, what if I can consciously decide in what pace I need to talk and make that dependent on the circumstance. I actually changed the way I talk when I used to talk to children. It happened naturally. Because feedback tells you they're not going to get it if you don't slow down. With respect to children, I was changing the pace. But now, what if I change that in different circumstances? I developed a range. And suddenly, when you have a range, you realize the power of it. So when I am professionally in front of a customer, I know what to do. And with friends, I know what to do.
Aware of that.
You told me who the audience is. And I know when to speed up, slow down, really slow down. When I need to accompany it with some gestures, I'm actually aware of those things. It may appear spontaneous, that I'm just doing what I'm doing, but there is a layer of awareness behind that with which I'm doing it.
Got it.
The effectiveness with which I can operate in the world with respect to speaking has improved. Likewise with so many things. Even things like cutting vegetables, riding my motorcycle, many other non-core benefits.
People who go through diligently, most people are likely to get benefited in various ways. Have you observed this in other people who have gone through Vipassana? Could you tell?
The motivation to do Vipassana because of that. I used to live in San Jose doing a startup. I came across a group running a non-profit and became part of it. Many were, the reason I got attracted to this group of people to begin with was because I did see something very different in them. In all kinds of mundane things. How they were talking, how they were acting, how they were considering different things. There was something unique and higher quality about it. That's why I started engaging with them. And initially, I didn't know about meditation, that they were doing Vipassana and all that. I discovered it after a while, and then I was able to relate. I always thought, I didn't know why they are like that. Then 6 months after engaging with them, somebody said he's going to a Vipassana course, and that's when I came to know. Then I consciously started talking to these people about it, and they all started telling me in different ways they have changed because of this, which I had already observed it. So when they said that, I can relate. It's simply because of the quality I saw in certain people and discovering they had done this meditation, which was the motivation. I always read a lot of self-help books. And of course, anybody who does that discovers soon enough that it doesn't help. It seems to help, but not really. I had 3 large bookshelves and about 2,000 books.
Wow.
And one day when somebody was telling me about books and reading, I was telling that person a little bit out of frustration, a little bit humorously, that I have done a lot of shelf improvement. My shelf looked nice, but the self-improvement has not happened. And many people discover it. There's a gap between your theoretical understanding and that reflecting in your life. And I saw in these people, some of those gaps have been filled. And that was a motivation. And these improvements I'm talking about, they are all at a mundane level. Simple things like how they talk, how they behave when they are told something that's a criticism, how they receive it. Little things, but you notice those things because they stand in contrast to what you observe with many other people. So you're like, they seem to be less stressed, more joyful. So those are the initial things implicitly you get. And that's why you are wanting to hang out with them more. Initially, why I wanted to hang out with these people, not very explicit. I sensed some higher quality. Then later you discover different aspects. Then I arrived at discovering this particular meditation was helping them in a big way. So that's my motivation.
Got it. Why do people keep going back?
Just like learning any skill, there is a formal daily practice, right? I get up, do that practice to acquire that skill. You can join a camp, and for a certain number of days without any other distraction, you're giving yourself one booster.
Just like training.
Right? Every day you are asked to practice morning and evening, 1 hour and 1 hour.
Even afterwards.
Every day you're supposed to practice. If you want to get good at anything, you practice. So you are asked to practice 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, and that's a daily practice. Now this daily practice is happening in the middle of everything else going on in your life. The quality varies. The practice is affected by so many things. What time did you sleep the previous day? What's going on in your life today? What you're going to do after the meditation? All of those influence the practice. So the ability to have a higher quality of meditation is dynamic. If you sign up for a course, you're removing all the distractions. You get a booster. You are asked to attend one 10-day course every year. Those who do it understand its benefit. So now I've done it for all these years, from 2005, and every year I do at least one course.
Oh, I see.
I just came back yesterday and I can see the difference. What I'm able to do in those 10 days is much bigger than my daily practice. Both are required. And the daily practice is to keep the continuity, and it's like iterative improvement, small improvements. The 10-day is like a,
camp.
jump.
Makes sense.
And people do not just 10 days, there are different levels. You can do 10 days, you can do 20, 30, there are longer and longer meditations. And those things are really tough, and you have to qualify for it. You have to finish a certain number of 10 days, and they ask you to serve as a volunteer during those 10 days. So you participate and do the meditation like the regular participant, but you're also given some volunteering responsibility. When you look at the whole meditation program as a volunteer, you learn much more. So as a participant, you learn, but as a volunteer, you learn much more. So you're now observing other students and how they are behaving. That angle you don't get when you are participating, because you're asked to not bother about others. But now as a volunteer, you're given responsibilities and watching others. Then it's like they say, you're able to watch faults in others much easier than you can do in yourself. As a volunteer, I used to stand there and I'm like, this person is eating too much. And instantly you tell yourself, oh, okay, how much am I eating? This person is moving too much on the cushion. You're observing so many different ways in which people are handling their situation. You are judgmental about it inside, but the job is to improve yourself. Every time you judge others, ask yourself, where am I? That is really helpful. I've served as a volunteer, and that also has helped me. You are asked to do at least one 10-day course every year. You're also asked to volunteer as much as possible. Okay. You can volunteer for the whole 10 days or part of it. I've done both. The third thing is maintaining. It's not easy.
How can somebody
forget the 2 hours. Even deciding to sit. Many things happen and you can just lose it. And you're not doing it anymore. Like 1 month, 2 months passes and you're not doing it anymore. And just like any other practice, right? People commit to go to gym and then it doesn't happen. It's the same, right? Now what really helps is that they call 3 jewels of this meditation, which is the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. Each one is a jewel, they say. The Buddha is the first inspiration, the first teacher. And you gain inspiration from knowing that person's life. The second is the teaching itself, the practice. The third is called the Sangha. The Sangha is a group of friends committing to support one another's journey for a noble cause, improving oneself. There is a story of, in Buddha's life, one of his disciples called Ananda. He was a relative of Buddha, also a disciple. Once in a gathering, he tells fellow meditators he is grateful for them. without you and your support, I wouldn't have been able to maintain my practice. You have helped me in innumerable ways. I'm very grateful. In that emotional state of gratefulness, he says, you know what, 50% of my success I will attribute to all of you. The Buddha says, Ananda, that's not right. This guy is saying something in front of the teacher, and he must have thought maybe I said something that's not. Obviously, the practice is very tough, and saying 50% is because of the Sangha. The person might have said these things to himself, right? Maybe he said or didn't say, I'm sorry, whatever. But Buddha is supposed to have said, it's not 50%, it's 100%. The success on this path is 100% dependent on the Sangha. And when I heard that story, it's like, Buddha said that? Yeah, he's supposed to have said that. Why would he do that? Your own practice is dependent on and should be attributed to the Sangha. I took many days to unpack it. When I lived in the Bay Area, every Saturday morning, Nisha, my wife, and I used to host a yoga session in our house. Friends used to come and we would do an hour yoga and then sit around and have breakfast. That's how Saturdays started. When we landed in the Bay Area, we had our yoga practice, but it was not consistent. So we would do it, but then there'll be some break and then we'll pick it back, and it was going up and down. But the moment this happened, we were doing it every single day. Why? Because somebody is going to show up.
Yeah.
These folks would talk and pick each other up. Somebody would call and say, I'll pick you up. The other guy would say, I came out of my house straight from my bed and I wouldn't have picking me up. So everybody was picking up everybody else. Because of that, we didn't miss a single day. That's what Sangha is. You are supporting each other in simple ways to begin with. It becomes deeper and deeper. Where these people become your intimate circle with whom you open up. All of that is happening in the context of meditation, where you see, okay, this I discover and what to do about it. The more you discover issues, you see the technique has a solution, and different people are at different levels. That person handled it this way, using meditation. So you pick it up. Sangha is the way you maintain the practice. Find people in your area who are meditation practitioners, and once a week gather in somebody's house and meditate together, group meditation. Many people tell me the only meditation they ever did was in that group, and still they were not able to do it on a daily basis. The beauty is that you're at least doing it once a week. From continuity you can go to consistency. The possibility is open. The community of friends with which you practice helps you keep on the path. So I guess it applies to everything.
Thanks for sharing this. These are things you don't find on the websites. Your experience. For me, it went from sheer intimidation to a point of exciting, challenging thing. Hey, why don't you try it kind of thing? So I will definitely consider it.
I've known you've always been on the adventurous side, which means when you have a fear, personality can act in two ways. One is normal, which is when you have a fear, you can shrink. Many of us do that. But because of that adventurous streak in you, you have another choice, which is, I want to
try it out.
Fear becomes excitement, a challenge and adventure, and I want to do this. Those who have that streak natural to their personality, they can shift from shrinking to trying it easily. Those who don't have it have to figure out a way to cultivate that. You're meditating for more than 10 hours a day. Think about it. Not continuously. 2 hours, a break, an hour, 5 minutes break, an hour, half an hour break. There are breaks. Obviously, there are 24 hours in a day. Vipassana practice in the meditation center is 4:30 a.m. in the morning to 9:30 in the night. So those many hours with breaks, when you add it up, it's 10 plus hours of meditation. It can be incredibly boring. If you don't do anything and you're sitting around at home, you get bored.
Yeah.
Because you want to know what you want to do next. But here, you're supposed to sit with closed eyes without moving, and it can be too much.
Yeah.
But it is too much the first couple of days. But you get the hang of how to deal with that, and you're able to already deal with that a little bit. And then you learn the art of observing without reacting. Then you achieve a breakthrough in dealing with everything. It's very tough. Probably the toughest thing I've done. I've climbed the Himalayas, been to 20,000 feet, backpacking, camping, professionally. Compared to any of the stuff I've done in my life, this is probably the toughest. Because of that adventurous thing in me, I was able to, every time faced a really tough thing within the context of meditation, something told me, you have to do it. You have to figure out how to deal with that. Initially, you do it out of willpower. The second day, I was like, I'm not going to move, no matter what. And I was clenching my teeth and braving it out. People start like that. I know it can be done by my own experience. Thousands of people do it around the world. It's not mysterious, it's practical and applicable to every aspect of your life.
That is what excites me, the transferability.
Yes.
When you started, you mentioned you demystified it, essentially saying that this is a tool, like exercising.
Exactly.
This is highly transferable to everything.
Right.
That's really motivating.
If you keep at it, get good and things fall in place, you can elevate all the spiritual stuff people talk about, may become accessible.
Yeah.
How does it matter? If you get there, it's good.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff you know, it's more than good.
Yeah. What make it happen? Right.
So I do it because of these reasons. Hopefully someday it becomes better and I'm able to access something more. But I'm happy with where I am and how it is going.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate this. Glad we were able to talk in this serene setting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. I hope you do the course at some point. We can exchange notes. Thank you.